on this side, guys.
Whoa.
Oh,
So now it has started. It
Mhm.
has begun. So I didn't know. Do we have any other updates or anything before we jump in? Any
No
sort of
cicadas.
Cicada sighting. Yeah.
you did see one?
There's still a few stragglers that I think they
Wow.
woke up late, so they're still.
So they're the stupidest of the cicadas, and that's saying a lot.
yeah,
Really?
No, there's
I
still
still
a
haven't.
few.
I haven't seen any yet.
It's because you have no trees. You get
You know
cement
what?
for miles.
We got to put one in an envelope and ship it up to Jack,
We
just
should
so
do
we
that.
can have one.
Yeah, do that.
We'll
I
do.
don't know if it would survive.
I don't
Yeah,
care if it survives.
I'll keep it. I'll keep it.
All right. Well, I'm pick the topic this week, and kind of like with most topics I pick, it all tends to go back to how the media is corrupt. So it's probably gonna end up there
Yeah,
tonight.
Media Mike. That's your
Yeah,
name.
it's a big topic for me. So a couple things, I read a lot, keep up with things, and I started noticing some parallels
Bless you.
with how the January 6th riots at the Capitol are covered, and the language that's used, and the approved narratives that get pushed and pushed, and the ones that you get censored for if you say them. And much like it kind of follows the same exact path as COVID and like the lab leak theory. We've already gotten into all that stuff, but I'm starting to see this whole pattern. It just repeats, like whatever the topic du jour is. And I started thinking about, just like with COVID, when it first came out, and I was all trying to find out information about it and get the facts so I could make rational decisions and things like that. And even though we have all these quote unquote reporters, it was like impossible to get information. And we did the podcast with the gentleman, the British gentleman that wrote the article that shed a lot of light on things just this past May. So for the riots down at the Capitol January 6th, I've just been interested in trying to get as much information as I can. And full disclosure, I was actually down in DC that day. I wasn't storming the Capitol or anything, but I was there and saw a lot of crazy stuff. But yeah, so, and even being someone that has some firsthand experience with it, there's still a ton I don't know. And so again, I've been researching things, and I just came up with sort of a bullet point list of information I found kind of interesting.
Okay.
Kind of give some context. Leading up to January 6th, obviously had all to do with people's perceptions of the fairness or unfairness of the 2020 election in November. So that was obviously the main driving force. There were events in DC after the election leading up to January 6th where people were showing up, and you probably heard like the whole "Stop the Steal" comment people were saying, and there was this divergent path where you had some people saying, the mechanisms that a lot of these states employed at the last minute in the year leading up to the election, and in the months and sometimes in the weeks leading up to the election, that changed certain rules, ostensibly because of COVID. Things like having community drop boxes, extending hours, relaxing criteria for authenticating votes, things along those lines. And typically, those things have to be decided by the state legislatures. And in a lot of these cases, like in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Georgia, Arizona, these were decided by secretaries of state. They were decided arbitrarily by governors. Some legislatures fought it, some supported it, some didn't interact at all. And at the time when it was happening, there was actually people as early as last spring of 2020, that were raising alarms about this and saying, well, why are we changing all these election laws, in these states? And they were primarily swing states. They weren't doing it so much in California, although they were doing some of it. So there were people that were upset about that. And then there's people that are upset saying like there was actual cheating, like there's actually, trucks coming in with ballots that are done and dumping them off, and they're getting run through the machines. And so these things kind of got conflated. So and whether or not there's evidence of that, who knows, right? I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I've seen some evidence of minor things. Every election has minor things that go on. But
here's the thing, if I may, on stuff like that, if it doesn't get traction, I'm not buying in.
Yeah, well,
just plain and simple. If it didn't have traction,
that goes to the media narrative.
Yeah. So what ended up, and I'm gonna pontificate for like 10 minutes, and then we'll open it up. So,
you're finally gonna be done?
What? I will be. So what ended up happening was, if you had concerns which are legitimate, and they're not conspiracy theories, of how these states changed their laws and what the results of that was, if you were raising that, you got lumped in, and it was like, you're part of the big lie and blah, 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 blah. And now, as COVID is kind of receded, of course we have this new variant out and everything else. But, now when legislatures were like, hey, you know what, you guys didn't really consult us last year, but we're going to make this a law now. We're going to rescind those because those were changes just for COVID. Now the media narrative is, this is Jim Crow, right? This is voter suppression. This is white supremacy, because we're returning the laws to what they were a year ago, right? So a year ago, they're trying to get the laws back to that. And that's Jim Crow. So, and then all the people that had concerns about this get thrown in with people that are saying there's truckloads of votes coming. So all of this is in play leading up to January 6th. And I would contend, much like I did with COVID and a lot of other things that the media does, people bitch back and forth about, oh, this is true, this isn't true, CNN's biased, Fox is biased, whatever. There's always been bias in news. News is always biased. The difference is the level of distrust that the population of our country has and I'm just speaking of the United States, has in the media, this distrust has caused other bad things to happen. And I will contend January 6th riot would have never happened if we had a robust, actual, free press in this country that wasn't just interested in pushing a narrative and pushing propaganda. Because the result, I know for me myself, going down there to just kind of like be part of it and show up and register my displeasure with something, just walking, right? I'm not like getting violent or anything, is because people weren't getting heard. And if you did talk about it on social media, which I would know because I was kicked off all social media for talking about COVID, but you would get shut down, just like we keep talking about. So this relentless narrative, whether you agree with it or not, I'm not even getting into that. But this one-sided push where you get your account suspended, you get labeled, you get shut down, you get canceled, whatever that means. When people feel that they are not being heard, they will be heard, right? So anyway, so that's kind of the background getting up to January 6th. The hearings that just started today, the thing that's so frustrating to me about it, and I actually was able to watch some of it. I was in a client's home and she had it on, and it was pretty compelling, actually more compelling than I had thought it would be. But it's happening again where, because everything is being viewed through a political lens related to this, we're not popping the zit. We're not getting to the get. We're not really talking about all these other issues. It's just being used. It's grist for the mill. It's another thing that the media is just, riding and pushing and setting a narrative for. And so people that feel unheard are still feeling unheard. And it doesn't help. It just makes things even worse. And the media is complicit in it. So here's a couple here's a couple questions that I have that are not going to be answered by this committee. So not only were there stories that there were people there that were quote unquote professional agitators, there were some stories saying, oh, it's Antifa, or there's BLM people here, or what have you. Who knows? I do know that there were people there that were different. They were dressed in the black bloc outfits, right? Most people there look like, Americans that you would see, wearing horrible outfits and bad taste and all that stuff. And then you had these people that were like in this paramilitary, wear. So what is the story with those people? We have this event, okay? Next, we thought 9/11, we had a lot of information on, like that was before smartphones. This January 6th riot, we have more video and audio and photographs and evidence. And we still don't know exactly what happened. How is that even possible? How is that possible? So who are these other people that obviously weren't part of the people who were listening to the president speak down the way? And what were they doing there? Were they trying to start shit? Were they like, hey, we're going to kill congressmen? Or were they like, false flag, whatever? I don't get into all that stuff, but I would like to know who they were. And a lot of them were arrested. So why don't we know all of them, right? So the other thing is forewarning. So Nancy Pelosi is in charge of security for the House of Representatives, through the Sergeant of Arms, and Mitch McConnell's responsible for the Senate. They get reports every day about threats, to the, especially when they're in session. They haven't released any of the reports, any of the briefings, anything that either of those two got in the days leading up to this. So we don't know what they knew or didn't know. Why don't we know that? Like, why can't we see what that is? Did they know about it? Did they not know about it? Either way, it's a problem. If they knew about it, that's a problem. Well, if they didn't know about it, that's a problem, right? Because it was on Facebook, it was on Twitter. People were talking about it. I wasn't even on Facebook or Twitter. People like, we're just talking about, man, it's going to be crazy down there, whatever. It was already percolating.
Yeah,
right?
but it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy, and riot could be miles apart.
No, I get you, but I'm just saying people knew that there were going to be hundreds of thousands of people in DC that day. And I'm not an expert on crowd sizes. It was easily the most people I've ever seen in DC. And I've been to DC a million times. I'm a 20-minute metro ride to the mall, right? So I've been down there for a lot of stuff, and it was more people than I'd ever seen down there personally. The other thing, decisions on staffing, okay? I found this tidbit, which blew my mind. So the Capitol Police Force, let me find Capitol Police Force. It protects 535 Congress critters, and their staff. I'm going to be generous and say they each have 10 staff people, right? So what's that, 5,300, 5,400 people?
Yeah.
They protect 16 acres of property. There are 2,300 Capitol Police officers in that force for 16 acres to protect, call it 5,500 people. In comparison, the city of Minneapolis, Minnesota has 425,000 citizens, covers 6,000 acres, and they don't have 2,300 officers. They have 840 officers. So, and I'm not saying that the Capitol Police shouldn't have 2,300 officers, but who's controlling staffing down there that day? How do they get caught flat-footed on this? Again, I'm not trying to be Monday morning quarterback, but I would like that investigated.
Well, how about this? But I would argue that they obviously had what they needed, or else it could have gotten worse.
I don't think they had what they needed, man.
No, they could have used more. They could have used more. I agree, but
we're lucky. More. It could have turned into however many people. There's all these estimates. How many people went in? I keep hearing it's like hundreds, maybe 1,000. Say it's 1,000 people that went in there.
I can see that.
That's a lot of people, man. I'm surprised that seeing when I was down there, I had no idea, and I talked to Zeus about this later. From my vantage point, I was shocked when I saw the videos and later what was going on in there. I had no idea the level of violence that was going on there. I can't believe that those officers didn't open fire and just kill a ton of people. I don't know. Anyway, so why were some of the people welcomed in? There's all this video footage out there of people just coming in and the officers are just standing around. What's the protocol?
They were outnumbered though. at some point,
But-
you just gotta let, you know.
But this was at the beginning, like they're trickling in. Like, what are the rules? Are you allowed? And when I was a kid, you could just walk into the Capitol, right? And then they started getting this metal detector. What are the rules? I don't even know. Where is all the footage? Conservative estimates are there's 10,000 hours of footage that we haven't even seen yet that has not been released. I'm sure it'll come out eventually with a FOIA request.
Okay, so, okay, I call, and this is not calling it on you, but I call
Yeah.
bullshit on that.
Oh, what?
We're
10,000?
there's not 10,000 hours that we're not able to see. Come on, man.
I don't know.
A friend shows a friend shows a friend. There's 400 different outlets that they can put this
The
on.
Capitol has hundreds of cameras in it. I'm talking about the CCTV.
I'm talking about
from inside
we
the
live in
Capitol.
a world where you have high definition video.
I know there's plenty of that people have released. I'm talking about the government releasing its footage, and why isn't that?
How much?
Again, I'm not saying there's a
I mean,
problem.
but to be totally fair here, if I would work security for the Capitol, I don't think I would want to release all my camera angles to the public.
Well,
Just
some.
safety measure. I don't want the world to know
Yeah,
how many
it is
cameras I have.
probably automatically like top secret.
Okay,
Yeah.
then maybe that's an answer, but I'm saying who's asking these questions? Like I'm asking it, but I don't see it talked about on television. I don't see people asking these questions.
Well,
You know what? I'm sorry. Yes.
no, also some of the footage that was taken inside the Capitol building shows the police like literally acting as doormen.
That's what I'm talking about. That was shocking to me. I
Right.
was like,
And
what?
no, Mike, they were taking selfies with these people.
So when did the worm turn? And listen,
I don't know.
you can't deny there were people there that were they just wanted to start a lot of shit. And it was hundreds of them, right? It wasn't like grandma and grandpa are walking through and then the police react and then they fight back. There were people there, they were looking for violence, undeniable, right? So the other thing, and I'm almost done, and we can
I'm shocked. I thought you were going to go a different route with this. I almost get the impression that you're condemning it on a lot of.
well,
It's awful.
I'm not pro-violence, man. I'm
No,
pro.
I didn't think you're pro-violence, but you know.
Yeah, I know. My issue is, again, I'm looking at this as this is a significant event, and I am a interested person who does a lot of research and reading into things, and I have all these questions, and I'm like, it just reminds me of COVID again. World pandemic, right? I'm asking honest questions. I can't find answers. Like, where are all these reported? Because they're not reporters. That's why they push a narrative. This whole idea when Zeus, when you had the thing up of like, what's the definition of an insurrection? It's a very freaking good question. I've looked and I've seen like 10 different definitions. Some pertain to being armed or unarmed or what the intent
I
is.
simply think of it as a coup.
I will tell you one thing, there is a legal definition of it, and none of the people that have been arrested, which we're up to about 591 people now, none of them have been charged with an insurrection or with participating in insurrection. They've been charged with trespassing, they've been charged with assault, they've been charged with all kinds of stuff, and yet when you turn on TV, it's insurrection. Now, is it not? I don't know, but if it's an insurrection and we have a legal statute in our federal crime books for insurrection and none of them in charge with it, what's going on here? Words matter, right? Words. Was it a riot? I mean, again, the context, I'm almost done, all last summer, okay? And again, I live near DC. Wisconsin Avenue, there were windows boarded up, okay, for weeks and all over the place, all over the country, in certain cities. What was all that about? That we were told these were peaceful protests, right? I got some data on this, okay? This is from it's a organization of heads of police departments. The members are the heads of the 69 largest police agencies in the country.
Sorry.
Okay.
I thought the same thing. I didn't want to be inappropriate.
Listen, so they keep records of data and things like that. So all in all, in 2020, there were 8,700 protests that they marked as protests. Of those 8,700 protests, 574 were classified as riots. Okay, they met whatever definition, and this is loose because different municipalities have different definitions of what a riot is. So that's about 7% of protests that were going on through the summer. 7% became riots, which and riots kind of infer some violence. Now, it may not be towards another person, it may be property
Destruction
damage,
of property.
destruction of property, what have you. Of these 69 largest agencies, they reported 624 arsons, 97 police vehicles burned out, which I thought was low. I thought it was higher than that.
Well,
16,000
police vehicles
arrests.
have guns in them to protect them, so.
Well, these were empty
Oh,
cars.
that makes it okay, right?
No, I'm saying that it's less likely to burn a car that's got a person in it with a gun.
Well, they were
Yeah.
taking part of the issue, and I don't know if you remember this. Part of the issue was these cars were getting ransacked, and a lot of these police agencies lost a lot of rifles and things like that. They were getting taken out of the vehicle. 16,000 and change arrested. Almost all have had charges dropped, including people that were charged with felonies. Now, no one in the Capitol riot has been charged with a felony. I sent out what kind of got me started on this, and when I sent out that I know of, I've got a list of all the charges, all the people that have been charged. I don't see any felonies. However, I just lost my train of thought.
Right.
So, and again, I'm not pleading. I don't know these people. I don't know the particulars. Okay, I'm not a lawyer, but there are people being held in solitary confinement in DC. Now, unlike other crimes, other like riots and everything, people that were arrested for things happening at the Capitol riot, whether they lived in Arizona, whatever, there's federal courthouses all over the country that they could be held in. They were all brought back to DC. They're all in basically 2 jails right outside the federal area, part of the DC Police Department. So again, it's almost like what we're talking about, the way the government is with Twitter. It's like, oh, we're not the ones that are stopping you from saying anything, but then they're like, turning the screws on Darcy. So it's like, well, we're not holding these people. It's DC, Mario Bowser or whatever. So there's lawyers, and lawyers can get disbarred, okay, for lying about things like in court. There's lawyers that have testified that either their access to their people is restricted. There's people having like their medical care restricted. There's people, again, being held 23 hours a day in a prison as a detainee, uncharged, okay, for months, okay? Reports of them getting beaten. Again, I'm not trying to play a tiny, violin or whatever, but there is just speaking as a dude in America, I am seeing disparate,
Yeah, but we all know
punishments
lawyers
for these
are
crimes,
scumbags, man.
and the context that the media puts it in. I'm saying at the very least, whatever your feelings are about what happened, you can't deny that this is fucked up, man. I mean, there is a wide gulf between what we're being told and what we can see with our own eyes and what gets drilled from the media every day. Insurrection. Why doesn't anyone ask them who's been charged with insurrection?
Well, can I say one thing?
Yeah, I'm done.
6 people have pled guilty to felonies.
Okay, so I'm incorrect.
Yeah, the word felon. The guy that just got sentenced, the first guy that got sentenced to 8 months, that was a felony.
Okay.
Yeah.
A few days ago.
He already served.
I'd
So
also
what-
say the guy with his feet on Pelosi's desk and the douchebag.
What was the
behind
felony?
Trump.
Do you know? Do you know what it was or what the felony was for?
Probably destruction of government property, mass values, or probably, I don't know. They
Is there
assaulted
felony
police
trespass?
officers and stuff.
So the other thing is, again, you look at.
He was obstructing congressional proceedings was his felony.
Yeah.
Is
So
there
you-
felony trespass?
I didn't even know there was felony trespass, but
I'm asking if there is. It seems like there would be.
and some of this is changing daily. Like I had 440 arrested by mid-May, and I thought this was as of today 591 that have been arrested and charged, not necessarily still being held. Many have been released.
So I got a couple opinions. First of all, hey, we should check if there's felony trespass, because that's I would think. Jack, what do you know?
I would say there's felony destruction of property.
Well,
yeah,
no,
Value.
the important thing is felony trespass, because when you're in DC on almost any property you're on federal lands. You're on a lot of people don't know this, but the largest police force in the United States, if I'm not mistaken, is Parks and whatever it's called.
Recreation.
No, not Parks and Recreation. That's a show on NBC. But it's like state parks because that's the most land in the United States. So I would think, I mean, it's something we should check on. Maybe somebody can like check it on the side, but I would think there is felony trespass. And if that is the case, that does allow for a lot of this to just, happen. It's felony, then they're there. It may be what they lean on, but I don't think they will. And also, I want to point out that one of the articles you sent, and I found this interesting, was that I want to say Schumer and Warren are actually kind of in the corner of the people that are in jail. They're like,
it was Durbin and Warren, and they're well known anti solitary confinement, as I am.
I think that's so. I think that I don't think we're putting the cart before the horse. I know what you're talking about, and it is what's happened that bothers me the most is transparency is non-existent anymore. It's all you've got to be reading between the lines on everything. You can't just take it at its word. I don't think we will ever be again. I think that this is a downhill. What's that?
That died with the 24-hour news cycle.
I don't even know about that. I think it's a more recent thing. I think the final nail's been put in the coffin is what I'm saying. I'm saying it's been going this way. But so I mean, I do like that Warren is in there because she's a pretty powerful person on the Democrat side, and I think that this could help a lot.
Well, that article is from April.
But still, if she put her name on it, I don't think she's going to back out.
No, and I commend her for doing it. I guess my point is, why isn't this being reported in Washington Post? Their bureau is within a couple miles of this prison. They have all these reports. Like, where's the research being done? Why aren't people going and demanding to speak to these detainees and find their story? We were sending people down to Guantanamo Bay, right? Whatever your opinion is on that, when they were being held as detainees, and to your point, Zeus, like the Patriot Act, I don't think there's anyone on this call that thinks that was a fantastic piece of legislation by any stretch. But
again, and I always argue this. I hate the Patriot Act, but and everybody wants to go, Republicans brought it in, George W. Democrats didn't shoot it down.
No, you can't unring a bell.
Well, can you not? Because Obama passed Obamacare, and then Trump took a dump all over it. And where is it? So you can unring a bell. They don't want to because the Democrats have just as much power with the Patriot Act as the Republicans.
Exactly. All right, you can't unring a bell when you like the music.
Exactly. And they both sides like the music. Yeah.
Yes, it's very.
I'm feeling like I'm going out on a limb on this analogy. So here's where I come in on this. Okay, I am interested in stuff. I approach these things in what I believe to be good faith. Like I was wrong about the felonies thing. Obviously, what I read was out of date or whatever.
Idiot.
I approach things in good faith. Like, I want to know, and yet I feel like I'm the people that I work with and family and friends and neighbors and all that. They're just inundated with this propaganda narrative that's getting pushed, and they're too busy. And people are like, whatever, I don't care about this stuff, and I get it, but I can talk to someone for 2 minutes and I can tell them exactly where they get their news from because I read all of it and I know exactly where they're hearing it, and they're not viewing this stuff with a critical eye. And again, now it's an insurrection. Remember after January 6th, it was like, is it an insurrection? Is it right? I don't know. And now it's like, it's an insurrection, man. It's insurrection hearings.
Because that's the
insurrection forever.
We've had this discussion before. You got 20% on the right, 20% on the left, real solid thinking people that can actually sit down and talk with the, each other's sides, and maybe it's more like 10% on each side, but point being is they can sit there and talk and have rational conversations and not go ape shit on each other. But there's that 60 to 80% in the middle that just look for keywords that match their day. It's horoscope mentality. It says you will find fortune. But one person finds a quarter and says, "God damn, I found a fortune." Another person finds $1,000 and feels the same way. It's all perspective. In if somebody says insurrection, people like the word for the day because they were scared of what they saw on the news, which was one little part of all of DC. Call it maybe a mile square where all this shit was going down, versus the 10 square miles that DC is. But they brought that microscope right in. You know what I mean? And to that, I hate the media, because had they panned back, 20, 30 yards, we might have seen that it was just there, that there was nobody over here, nobody over there. We don't know. But
So
they feed us our perspective now. We're not looking for, well, we are, this group, but a lot of people are just happy to get something that fits what they think it is.
Yeah, that's the problem. Everybody just they group themselves into these narratives that suit what they already want to believe or what's easier for them to believe, and then they just find groups on social media to just hammer that point in, and then they don't have to think anymore. No more free thought. You just let your favorite newscaster and all your little social media buddies tell you how to think. You don't have to research anything on your own.
It's really hard to find information about this event.
that's what I'm saying.
Today I was looking up the Brian Sicknick thing.
Who's
I
that?
know he didn't die, because at first they said that the rioters killed him.
No.
And that myth kind of stayed around past the
People still believe it.
It's still
It did its
when they were
damage.
trying to impeach Trump.
Yeah,
They didn't say anything. They
people
just
still
kind of let
believe
it. Yeah, he didn't die from the rioters. He died, and it's still unclear because I can't find any good information. But I know it's out there. I've seen it before. I think he died of like a heart attack or something.
Yeah,
Nobody touched him. He
days
went back to
later.
his office.
He
and
died.
sat down.
He died a few days later in a hospital of the heart issue.
His family came out and said that it wasn't due. His family
Exactly.
came out and rebutted.
Yeah,
it.
But if you try to Google that and find it, you can't find clear information.
Mike, they said he got brained by a fire extinguisher.
I know.
Somebody said that somebody took a fire
And there's no-
extinguisher and like crushed his skull.
There's
That
no
did not happen.
corrections.
Well,
Here,
Mike,
another- yeah.
Mike, they also said that it was at first they said it was an armed insurrection.
Correct. There was no one that was arrested
had a gun.
has
Well,
any
okay,
evidence
but
of having.
armed doesn't have to be guns.
Oh,
Yeah,
stop it, Zeus.
No,
That was
kinda
generic.
does.
You're the lawyer.
no, Jack's right. They're stretching. the
No,
truth.
there was a lady who had tased.
But hold on, that's not what I'm not defending it. But what I'm saying is we're smart enough to know that
No,
armed doesn't
when
mean
they say
guns.
armed,
And
everybody thinks guns.
let me
but
finish.
They were not guns.
Let me finish. Exactly. They say armed to inspire that 80% in the middle. It says armed. Oh, must have been guns. We know better. This is more pitchforks and torches.
They didn't even have those, Zeus.
But you know what I'm saying.
I
They picked up a piece of steel that was rebar that was hanging out that was at a construction site. But it does.
No,
Here's
No,
the
there
thing.
was a woman with a taser.
Hold on.
A
Here's the thing.
taser's a weapon.
Here's what I'm getting at. It's just like this guy. They said this guy got brained with a fire hydrant,
Fire
right?
extinguisher, yeah.
Fire
It doesn't-
extinguisher.
It doesn't matter if it was true at this point. Once
No, we
it's
get
gotten
that.
out there, it's like, let's say the truth is a line, a visible line that we can see. As soon as it got out there, there's a nick in it. There's a break in the truth, and it's never going to go away. It's always going to be there.
Well,
That's why, like when they say armed, it's over. It's always going to be guns to 40% of the
calling it-
population.
I joked about this in an earlier podcast, but the other absurd thing about calling it insurrection is like conservatively, okay, and I'm going with like what CNN says. There were like 300,000 people there that day. So now we're up to 591 arrested. It's 0.2%, right? And yet day after day it was Trump supporters are maniacs and storm the stormed the Capitol, like 591 out of 300,000. Like, but there's no effort to, and again, there were people there that were just there. They felt like they wanted to have their voices heard. They weren't being violent. They weren't doing anything, but the media treats them, you know, and being one of those people, I felt it. Like, it's like the Scarlet Letter. Like, I was down in DC on January.
Oh, hold on, I gotta
go on your body, right? I mean, that's ridiculous.
This
That
is really
ridiculous.
intriguing. So let me ask you, Mike, you were there. Were you there for the speech for Trump's
Yeah,
speech?
originally I went down.
And what was your impression of the speech, and did you feel like he was telling you to go do something or what?
Not even close. I mean, full disclosure, I had trouble even hearing it. You're right, but you know, we were trying to like hear it on the radio too. I think it was we were having trouble getting internet access, but not in a million years. There were definitely people down there that were like, I don't know if you want to call them these Proud Boy guys. I don't even know what those guys' deal is or whatever. You had the people that were kind of in the black bloc outfits. There were a few, but you definitely had guys that looked like they were wearing like military garb, like a la like Desert Storm or something, you know, like
they were there just to start trouble,
or they were just trying to be a presence or whatever. I don't know what
thing,
but the vast majority were like Joe from the pool hall and like Katie from the, you know, the PTA. I mean, it was like just normal, regular people. I mean, I did notice one thing because they were getting heckled. I saw, and I thought about this like a couple of days later when I was watching this footage. I saw two Confederate flags because I made a note of it. One was just a straight up Confederate flag. I think it was that dude that ended up walking through the thing or whatever. And then there was one that had like a rifle on it or something like that. And I was down by the Washington Monument and people were like, man, what are these guys? You know, whatever.
I tend to believe that it was
I saw
like
50 million of them. It's like, and it's like the same dudes, like again and again and again and again, right? Because that's the narrative. They want to push that. 300,000 people, right. Two idiots bring, maybe call it 10, bring a Confederate flag. That it's all Confederate flags, man. These people it's all white supremacists. Were all armed and they all wanted to kill Nancy Pelosi. I mean, that's
like on the Flintstones when Barney will be running and you see the same window with the same bird going.
That's kind of what. That's just an aside.
But
I mean,
to be fair, though, not all Trump supporters are racist, but a lot of racists really support Trump. Come on.
I think a lot of racists support Joe Biden, man. I mean, he's horrible the way he is. I mean,
he can't be racist.
Not so
he has a black vice president, and he was. I'm being facetious.
Well, that's a story for another. I mean, I think that's 74 million people voted for him, and you're trying to say so we have people coming across our border to a country where 74 million people are racist.
Yeah, like, I think
that makes sense.
Retarded. Now, I don't think anybody here actually thinks that every single person that voted for Trump is racist.
No.
I don't even think it's a significant amount.
Really I think it's like 4%. I think it's, if that.
So, Mike, I want to, this is kind of intriguing for me. So, when you were there, so after the speech, what was the feeling? Was there like electricity? Did you get the feeling that people were saying, "Oh, we got to do something"?
I stayed until he was completely done talking.
I called him and told him to leave.
About 30, he did. About 30 to 40 minutes. I was down right by there. I was down by the Washington Monument. So I was like, fuck, because he was speaking on the ellipse. You couldn't even get in there, right? So, and again, full disclosure, I've been down to the mall in DC for all kinds of protests, stuff I agree with, stuff I don't agree with. I love that stuff. Okay. So 30, 40 minutes before he even finished talking, I think he wrapped up at like 1:20 or 1:15, something like that. Someone's done a timeline, which is pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
People started leaving. There was definitely a feel of impatience. One, he was just going on and on and on and on and on and on like he does. And people, they knew there was, and I don't remember exactly what the time was, but there was a known time that Congress was going to be in session to restart this process. Like I think they had taken a break or they had started the day before. I can't remember right now. So call it like 1:00. People wanted to be there And the general consensus was that people wanted to yell. They wanted to get heard inside the building, right? So he was going on, and people are like, screw this, man. We're going down. Like, they're going to get started. We need to get down there now. And so I would say 40% to 50% of the crowd was already on its way to the Capitol before he even stopped. And it's a good, I don't know, 15-minute walk. It's not 5 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. But I would say, and I was there when he finished, and I would say at least half the crowd was gone by that point. And, by the time I started walking towards the Capitol, and by the time I could really see it, there was already like smoke, and, you could hear the canisters of tear gas going off and stuff like that. You could see people up on the scaffolding. I don't know if you've seen that scaffolding that was around in the inaugural. Like, you could see them from like blocks away. Like, they were already, and I was like, wow, that dude's like 4 stories up in the air or whatever, I was like, what the heck? But really, and then when we were leaving, you could see some other police officers. There were Fairfax County Police, Montgomery County, Maryland police cars that were like coming down Constitution Avenue, like screaming. And I was like, holy crap. Like, it's weird seeing Virginia and Maryland police cars, in DC. There was definitely no National Guard. I mean, the reinforcements were policemen from neighboring jurisdictions at
That's
first.
another story.
Well, that's
The guard
another
was
issue,
there.
Mike.
I'm sorry?
That's another issue.
Yeah.
Why was there no National Guard?
Well, that's what I'm saying. These are questions I have. Like, I don't know why. It's like, I don't know if you guys remember between the election and January 6th, but there were a lot of people that were like pissed off, and this election was stolen, or you're an idiot, or, I mean, it was a volatile situation.
Yeah,
at least rhetorically. I'm not saying there were. It boggles my mind that there wasn't someone thinking that through.
Well, this was a big day, though, because one, they were about to seal the deal, and
the thing that got
and Trump was there, so,
and he was there. The thing that really grinded my gears, like the whole thing that got me to go down there, but really that I just wanted to be like part of registering my displeasure, was, pretty much every election has been contested by the other party. I mean, you can go back. I mean, Reagan, obviously 2000, Trump 2016. I mean, he's an agent of Russia, and you have House of Representative member after House of Representative member standing up saying, I object to these electors being certified. Right? It happened. I know it happened in like the last 20 years, like every election.
right.
And some are legitimate and some are posturing or whatever. But I felt like I had some questions I wanted answered. And if it's going to be the theater, right, where, okay, you're going to have some of these Congress people get up there and they're going to contest the electors being sat. There was no question that Biden was going to be, found, that he was going to win at that point. But they wanted to shut down even people standing up. I mean, who is it? Jordan? They're trying to say that he's like complicit in an insurrection because he was questioning whether or not to seat electors, something that's been happened in every election in my lifetime. And so this whole thing of like, sit down, shut up, don't ask questions. And again, in a context of the whole year I've been having my voice shut down on social media, asking questions that are now like considered like everyone knows them. Yeah, of course it could have escaped from the lab, whatever, And so that was my beef. And I think that was kind of the beef of most of the people down there. Like, you can't just shut us up. Like, we get to say our piece. This is a republic. I mean, you don't have to do it, but we can say it. We have free speech. No.
I wasn't.
And when you do that, you get a reaction. And it's again, having our press is so horrible. Like, if we had decent, honest people as reporters, but we don't. And we don't have media companies that give a shit about it. So this is what we're left with.
They're all owned by the same billionaires.
Yeah, like 4 people, man.
Yeah, they control everything, all the information. Control of information is power.
Well, that's the problem, though, Cathy, is that the control of information has spread from just the networks to now the social media conglomerates, and so there's nowhere to get information
Right.
unless we all dabble in that mystic land called the dark web, which labels you a CIA target or something, according to Darcy. Or
Dark web, you don't want to be associated with.
I know that's what you say, and that's my point.
Yeah.
There's no contradictory information.
Right.
I'm not going to get
Still-
mine there. You
There's
guys,
still
you know what?
Fox News. Jack.
I'm not doing it, but the point is, you still have Fox News.
That's
and
the
the
other-
other one.
The other
by
thing
the-
that kind of
and by the way, Fox News, I've seen clips of Tucker, like, who shows actual videos, like, taken in real time of the riots, of what happened inside the Capitol that day. And they're gone. Like, those people have
Videos?
been, the videos, like, they've been shut down on your Twitters and your whatevers. And the Tucker videos, YouTube and Fox News won't touch. They will not put his shit on there.
Yeah, well,
I mean, could it be
So-
because he's a
because
major
because
douchebag?
Fox
just
is
putting
no
it out
better.
there?
Yeah, you can call him a douchebag. Maybe he is a douchebag.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing the guy who put his feet up on Pelosi's desk. There was a video out when he first walked in with the cop, and there was
Seen
an
that.
insurrectionist sitting down bleeding on the floor from his head. And he said, "Hey, do you want first aid? This guy will get you first aid." And then the cop was telling him, "Look, this is sacred. You can't do this." And he said, "Look, we're not going to be here for very long. We know that." And then there's the guy, Tom Man the Shaman, the Chewbacca guy. Like, the cops are telling him, "You're okay to peacefully protest here." And the Chewbacca guy is screaming like Chewbacca, "We're here to peacefully protest." Like, there was a video of that too.
I think as soon as you cross the plane of those doors, though.
Oh, well, that's the federal statute about trespassing on federal property.
Well, and
That's-
this is my opinion. I'm not talking about all that. What I'm saying
well,
is,
Zeus, that's the law, and they also shot a woman in the throat for it.
you know what, though?
we don't know his name. We don't know the officer's name either.
No, of course we don't.
There's,
I mean, they were doing their job.
yeah, we gotta be
They
real
shot the
about it.
lady.
She was she
It's
was she
federal.
part of a
and it
large
is
crowd of
done.
people that going up against a smaller.
All
Listen, I'm not.
What
I'm
about the federal property in Portland or Seattle, wherever that?
I agree, but we're talking
Under
about
nice.
this right now. That's another show. I agree.
Well, here's
what I'm
to Zeus'
saying is
thing.
if, hey,
Joe.
here's the thing. What I'm saying is if I go running into a building that's under attack by other people and I get shot, I'm a fucking idiot.
Yep.
Okay? Plain and simple.
So she's an idiot.
What?
So
Yeah.
she's an idiot.
So there were police right next to her.
What?
There were. If you watch the video, there's about 3. I think they're Metropolitan Police that are within 3 feet of her, that were
Yeah.
already talking to her, and one actually had his hands on her. And when he looked up and saw that the gun drawn, he backed up. So she was being dealt with. She was unarmed.
I equate this to. Everybody's seen Dances with Wolves, right?
Yes.
Remember the part at the very beginning where he is fucking lost his shit,
Yeah,
and he
held his arm.
rides the horse in between the two groups of people shooting at each other. At some point, your actions. I'm not, maybe idiots are
They're your
strong word, but what I'm saying is she put herself into that situation. Is it good that she got shot? No. Is it bad that she got shot?
I
Yes.
don't know.
But the point is she was there. She associated herself with this. She could have said, "Whoa, this is getting out of hand. I'm going to head on home, go make some Hot Pockets and chill out and watch the TV." She
So that's-
decided not to do that.
That's what she should have done. Is gone
Exactly.
home and eaten
Made
some
some
hot
Hot
pockets
Pockets.
and not exercise the First Amendment right. Okay.
I'm not saying
Why
You're
not?
not exercising
I'm
the
saying
First
when
Amendment right if you're
Conversation
rioting.
over.
No, what
Why
I'm saying
hasn't the
is when shit
officer's
gets
name
out of
been released?
hand and you go to it, I'm not saying she shouldn't. She chose not to. Good for her. Very brave. Whatever. But
No
the
one
end
said
result was that a cop, there were two others that didn't shoot her, right? You said there was three? There were
No, there
two
were three
others that did not shoot her.
on her side of the door. There were three uniformed. The man who shot her, from looking at the video, looks like he's wearing a suit. And the rumor is that he's probably security for a congressperson, most likely. He was
I
plain
don't wanna
clothes.
delve into
I
any
think the
rumors.
police did the right thing, the way they handled it.
She got
because,
shot,
like
it
I said, they
sucks.
could have
Oh.
shot like 1,000 people.
Like
if
I
they
said,
did.
Exactly.
looking at
the
the
people-
videos, they could have shot 1,000. I mean,
the
they could have
people were
shot. They could
being
have put 100
peaceful
people.
for the most part. They
Yeah.
were just kind of walking in, looking around. So there was no real need to shoot all those people. They were not going nuts. They didn't need to be
there
shot.
was no need to shoot one.
I agree.
I think at that point they didn't really know. That was maybe at the early stages of it. And she was
Or-
trying to climb through the window.
I
and
can
everything.
I can bet you this: the guy that shot her, I'm sure he's not working now. You know what I mean? So I mean that doesn't bring her back to life, but
Well, not to.
I'm sure they're
going
not
back to
patting him on the
Zeus's-
back saying "good job."
The people that are arguing that the police just stood by and let people come in, I
That
think
bothers me.
that was the correct thing to do. I think they should not
At
have
that point,
started a war and started firing. at
Perhaps,
everybody.
at
yeah.
that point, yeah, they were
Right.
outnumbered.
But if this
They
was
were
any other
severely
large
outnumbered.
group of people, do you think that it would have been different?
I think if
No,
they had had the
it-
National Guard
I think
there,
the
it
streets
would've
might have run with blood if it was certain other groups. Let's
No,
not
it
get into any
worse than that.
particular group.
Zeus.
What?
No, they shot somebody and they used tear gas on these people.
Mhm.
They
Sure.
didn't do that with BLM anywhere, and they didn't do that with Antifa anywhere. So the people that are complaining, I hear this complaint a lot.
And I'm not.
That if this was BLM, they would have shot somebody and they would have used tear gas.
I didn't say
That-
BLM.
that-
I'm saying any other
Anybody.
group of.
Name another group then.
Okay, if
Who
a
are you
bunch of
talking about?
Muslims attacked the Capitol, they would call them terrorists. If they were just
Well-
trying to exercise or protest, they would call them
Attacked it.
terrorists.
If they were
With
just trying to
what?
exercise their
They
their
did
right to
exactly-
They
speak.
would. They would. They
If they
absolutely
just
would.
walked in casually,
Well, but these guys.
It
didn't
would
just
be all
walk-
over Fox
Let's
News
say
how
the
horrible those
exact
Muslims
same
are.
action
Like,
happened
can-
by a different group of people, storming everything that happened here, but it was. Let's say Aboriginals. Let's just take it out of the easy targets. Or who's Chinese? What if it was Chinese? Because I don't know.
And they did the same
Gang
thing.
lost the
they
election.
would have shot somebody.
So
Yeah.
but somebody
Do we
did get
think
shot.
do we
What are you
think more
talking
people
about?
would have? Do we think there would have been more
knows?
violence? What?
Would you be, or here's the question, would anybody even be talking about it right now or give a shit?
yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I don't
A
know.
lot more shit.
The media would have
Yeah.
said that it was completely peaceful and that no arrest should be
Yeah, I mean,
made.
we do
That's
have
the problem.
some evidence. I mean, the Hatfield courthouse in Portland was attacked for 100 consecutive nights. Hundreds of police officers were wounded. The building was set on fire with people inside, and yet our national media called it a peaceful protest as much as they could. And Pelosi and Biden and Harris had a fund set up to get people out of jail in Minnesota. So again, I understand what Zeus says about the whataboutism. I'm not into that. But speaking as an individual, watching that all summer, seeing it here in my own city, and being told that this is no problem whatsoever, and then
Nothing to see here.
0.2% of people act like total yahoos on 1/6, and it's an insurrection, and 74 million white supremacists are hiding behind every tree, and it's Jim Crow, and it's just, you talk about inciting. You've got a media that is calling half the country racist, white
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
supremacists. I mean, you talk about, Scalise, who got shot at the baseball game. I mean, you talk about inciting. These people call people rubes, right? Idiots that vote for what is that?
No, I
That's
think
not incitement.
I think we're all agreeing with you. I don't think anybody disagrees with. Not 50% of the United States is not racist. 50% of the United States is not rubes. Yeah, I mean, again, it's
I
mouth
think
breathers
about,
in the middle. What?
I would say about more than 50% of the United States are morons. Just
I,
putting it
I
out
don't know.
there. They are. They're dumb-dumbs.
Nah.
I mean, blame the
I
education
don't
system,
think
but it's
that,
a bunch
man.
of dummies
I
out
like
there.
people. If it is, I meet a lot of people in my line of work, and 99.9% of the people I deal with every day are great people.
Yeah,
I mean, I run into
No, you
assholes.
you can be a great person and very kind, but you're still dumb.
Nah,
I
I think
mean,
it's much
I don't
smaller.
know.
than
Not
it
my
used to be.
experience, but maybe I don't. Maybe I run in good circles. I don't know.
Maybe
I think
you're
people,
lucky,
I think people
or
are,
you're. No, I'm just playing. Never mind.
I don't know.
People
Maybe
don't
I'm the one on
mind.
the bus. Yeah.
everybody knows that the media is out of control, but half
Well,
the
But
people
some
don't
people are
mind.
accepting it
They kind of
because
like it because they're attacking the people that they don't like.
it's following their
They're
narrative.
kind of okay
So
with it.
yeah,
well,
Yeah.
also, Mike, you were at the riots, so you're suspect.
Yeah. Exactly. No,
and
you
he's
know,
clearly sitting in the White House right now.
well, I don't think I was at the riot. I was down. Yeah. Well, this is the Capitol building from
I'm-
1983.
I'm joking.
No, but so this picture, I don't know if you guys know, Susan Rosenberg set a bomb and it went off prematurely in the Republican cloakroom of the Capitol building, the same Capitol
You know how
building.
that is.
In November of 1983. It blew up prematurely at night, so no one was there. Did over $1 million of damage in 1983, and she was pardoned by Bill Clinton. And now, you know what she's doing today? She's the head of she's she has a consulting company that deals with the admin and legal teams of the
BLM.
National Black Lives Matter organization.
Yeah.
For whatever it's worth. But again, I don't hear her being called I mean, she blew up part of the Capitol building, knocked walls in, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, she's a revolutionary.
Again,
There were a
I'm
lot
not
of
trying to be
women-
whataboutism, but certain things get talked about one way and other things get talked about another way. And I can't just be quiet about that, you know?
No, and I don't get the impression anybody. I actually think that we're all kind of. I mean, there's slight disagreement here and there.
I'm talking about the media. I'm not talking about
it's all about the media. I honestly,
it is all about the media.
I hate the idea that it is 8 months after this, and there's 500 whatever people that are in prison, and we don't know
Well,
more, and then all of a sudden it's on our news.
Most have been released. There's less than 100 that are actually
Oh, okay.
in prison.
Oh, okay.
Right.
591 were
I
arrested.
don't actually. They're not in prison either, are they? Aren't they in the jails? Aren't they in two jails?
Technically,
Yeah,
But my
Yeah,
always
there
thing
is a
is
they're
difference.
in jail.
there's many
behind
in
bars.
solitary confinement, and that link that I sent, the one that, again, grinding my gears, the CNN one, where the lawyer is sitting there saying what he has seen with his eyes, right? And the guy is like, oh, this is ridiculous. It's torture. What? You know, like completely
It's not
dismissive.
torture.
That's a
I- I-
Got a
journalist.
rag in his hand.
Isn't that? I mean, that's a journalist. I mean, shouldn't a journalist be like this? Like, wait a minute, what did you see? All right,
Both
go.
of
Okay,
them
all right,
are
go.
Right.
out of
Here,
their
man.
mind.
I'm going to go down there and find out what the hell's going on. No,
It's
he's
not
mocked.
they're
he's
just- they're-
belittled.
They're
You know,
not
and there's
really-
people that are like, oh,
But
this is
that
great.
lawyer is trying to sue for his client.
I got you,
Yeah,
but
but he can't just deliver complete bullshit, Candy.
He
We were
can't
talking
just
about this
deliver-
earlier. I know what
But
you're
just-
saying, but he
If you're
can't.
telling me lawyers aren't liars, I'm just gonna have to laugh.
Elizabeth
Lie
Warren
and pillow.
Candy
came out against it.
Hold
Dick
on.
Durbin came out
Candy,
against it.
Candy, Jack's a lawyer.
Oh, I love
Okay.
lawyers, man. I love my lawyer.
Really?
Yes,
I love my
yes.
lawyer. I
Then
don't
shouldn't
like
you
They're not
be
all
saying
liars.
right up front that lawyers are liars?
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, they're people, right? All people lie.
Yeah, but you specifically
Self-preservation.
chose a group of. I'm just busting your chops. He's not mad. He didn't yell at you. I think it's
Well, you
something.
can
I
if
think
he
it's
wants.
something he's heard before. But again, they can't. They can not fabricate. They can stretch things. They can manipulate. They can maneuver. They can find ways of delivering something so that it appears a different way. But they can't tell you a piece of information that is complete bullshit, or they will get disbarred. Plain and simple. It's just a fact. They can't.
So here's another, and I'm kind of jumping to a whole other thing,
Huh?
but just objectively, a little bit, but it's still media, whatever. So is there anyone that believes that Joe Biden is in full control of his faculties at this point? I mean,
I haven't seen anything. I mean, I've seen a few things here and there, but
Mike,
Bill Clinton looked like a boob.
I'm not
A
talking
lot
about.
of it did. Reagan, the last 9 months of his, easily,
Right,
at
and
least
he
the last
had-
9 months, he was a stuttering boob.
He was much
And Trump
sharper
was
than
very
Joe Biden.
obviously borderline senile.
Who?
Trump
Yeah.
was very
I could
borderline
lean on that
senile.
one
The
too.
dude has a limited
Oh.
vocabulary.
He took a test
Oh,
and
no,
passed
he's
it.
removed.
That
Oh,
Biden's
come
been
on.
taking.
No, don't.
He was asked to take
Were
a
you
test and he
there?
took it. He
Oh
didn't
my
decide
goodness.
to
He
test
was
it.
Stay
where he could
stuff.
identify a lion. Come on.
Look, this is my point. If
What?
you, and it's just an honest question. If you're looking at what Biden's saying and doing, and you think that that's a-okay, that's fine. I'm not going to argue it. It's amazing to me, but I'm not going
I
to
think
argue.
all politicians suck, honestly. He
It's not about-
is old as piss.
How old is he?
And-
72, 74?
He
A
could be
lot
a
of them
million.
are lawyers.
Huh?
I don't see. I mean, again, I've been
Back up
interested.
from the microphone.
I remember watching Jimmy Carter and Gerald Ford debate. Okay, I've been into politics a long time. I call him as I see him, and I've never seen something like what Joe Biden's in the middle of right now, with the way he is like.
But you're
He's-
probably
He's
going from a
protected by the
biased
press.
angle there.
He
I don't
can't
think
go
so.
off book. He can't speak about things without knowing what
Oh
the
my
topic
God.
is ahead of
They
time.
made him disappear.
Sorry. And
All right. Well, I mean, I do know that he had a
You went too
stuttering.
far.
He has a stuttering issue,
I'm not
and he
talking
is a
about
gaffe
stuttering.
No, they
machine.
made that up.
okay, what I'm saying is, if his name was Trump, do you think that he would be getting this kind of reaction from the press, or do you think they would be like? I'm just saying. This is what I'm seeing. I
I think if he said the same things that Trump said, then absolutely.
Yeah. I'm kind
Trump
of on board
said,
with that.
"Come on."
Trump said a lot of inflammatory
I mean,
stuff.
just
during the 4 years.
inflammatory, insulting.
I'm not talking about inflammatory.
dumb.
I'm talking about the guy has dementia. That's what I'm talking
So
about. I'm
does
not talking about.
Trump. I don't
Listen,
know if he has
okay,
dementia.
Let's see.
Okay,
All right,
hold
it's
on
just
for
a
second.
question. Just
Hold
a
on,
question.
hold on for a second.
I'm not going to settle this.
Well, no,
Just a
no.
question.
This is a very valid point. I believe they said Trump himself. Think about us. I work 3 days a week, sometimes 4, 12 hours each night, in the middle of the night, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I am fucking destroyed by the end of that. These guys are going, and I'm talking both Trump and Biden and Kamala and Pence. They're going nonstop for a year at least, minimum. And definitely, maybe not nonstop the first 7 months of that, but definitely like that last 3-4 months, if they're doing it and they're doing it right, which these guys, for what it's worth, they campaigned a lot at the end. And it was nonstop. These are 72, 74-year-old men.
That's
I'm
exhausting.
50 and it would
Biden didn't campaign.
come on. Everybody says that, but I saw him constantly. Either way,
In Pennsylvania, dude, he did not campaign.
You're
You've got to be
gonna-
kidding me.
Do you think
Are
that
you serious?
Do you think that he was sitting down at a desk in his office, not doing anything?
Taking
Yes.
grandpa
Do you think
naps.
he
He barely
was-
left.
Wake up farts.
He barely
Wait,
left Delaware,
He
man.
didn't
Come
leave
on.
his house.
He barely
No,
left
that's not-
Delaware,
I don't-
and
I
then
don't
when he
believe
went,
that.
he went
I
to.
don't believe he didn't leave his house for a
Oh,
minute.
Jesus Christ.
What?
I'm saying it's not a matter of opinion. The guy did not go out on tour. There was no national
Yeah.
bus tour. There was
But
none of
that's
that.
not-
He didn't
And-
campaign.
And
He
they
didn't
and,
campaign.
So do you think he was not up 18 hours a day? Whatever.
Definitely
See,
not. No way.
even if I was just, come on.
Wait, doesn't that say something though that he still won
Ridiculous.
and he barely had to do anything?
yeah,
Yeah,
rude.
almost like
Yeah,
they had
rude.
been an
Does
issue
say a
with
lot.
the election. Maybe there was.
It's no.
Are you saying that there was
It's
a? Are you saying the election was rigged, Candy?
No, I'm saying that Trump is such a boob that people
Okay.
would rather
And
vote
listen,
for grandpa
for what it's worth,
who
you're-
cuts wake up farts
Oh, I
every
like
day
this
than
a
vote
lot.
for that dude.
I don't.
Mm.
It's not. I don't like Trump. That's fine. I mean,
That's
No,
fine.
you don't.
I know, but my point is I refuse to believe that anybody involved in the election was just sitting around fucking
No.
watching TV.
I'm not saying he was just sitting
Yeah, it's
around.
not.
But that's my point. Mike, let me finish. You guys all shut me down. And all I'm saying is their schedule crushed any schedule that we've ever had. Okay,
What?
during that period.
No.
And
All right,
I
come
would
on,
be,
Tom.
oh, come on. Let's be for real, man. It's a
on,
presidential
Tom.
election. If anything, they were taking calls all day. Even that would be draining. Imagine how draining for both sides. Biden did not sit down and just go, well, wheels are in motion. I can just rest.
He
No.
kind of did, Zeus.
No.
He kind of did.
No, maybe you
That's
didn't
the
see him
point.
on the campaign trail, like doing what Trump did. And you think Trump wasn't on medication to keep him going?
I don't know, man.
They
That's
said he was on
speculation.
medication. What?
Maybe. I
They
mean,
said it. So
Propecia and boner pills.
no, stop. I'm not trying to make a joke here. I'm being serious.
Yeah, maybe.
That's
So am
true.
I.
What? But okay, what does that have to do with what I'm saying, Candy? Come on. What I'm saying is I want to say they said that he was on like some
Who
like
said
psych
this?
meds. I want to say they said he was on some kind of psych meds. And this is not to call him crazy or anything like that. It was because it's a stressful,
Somebody.
destructive on your whole system thing. I'm talking about Trump right now. I'm defending him being an asshole through.
I'm just saying if Donald Trump was doing what Joe Biden is right now, it would be you would know every second everything he ever said.
And
Because he
I'm
would
just-
be saying horrible shit the
I'm
whole
not
way
arguing.
through.
I'm not
I'm
arguing
not talking
that the
about
media is so
disagreeing with
totally
him. I'm
not
talking
arguing that
about
the media is in Biden's pocket, or rather that they support him because he's the flavor at the time. I guarantee you this. You mark my words. Put it on the calendar. 15, maybe 20 years ago or from now, if we're still around, this is all going to be. It's just going to flip over, and it's going to be somebody else. And this stuff happens. Reagan. It was like this with Reagan. Everybody hated him. 50.
I don't hate Biden. I mean, I don't like him, but I don't.
Oh,
hate
but my
him.
point being is this just happens. This will
No,
happen
I think
again.
it's worse. I think it's worse.
It is. This is just the worst one, but I
This
think it's
isn't.
just going to happen again. We're going to have a
And those
Democrat in
days,
there that's
Reagan
hateful and
and
All
Is
right.
it possible though that we're not seeing a bunch of stuff bashing Biden because everyone is so exhausted from 4 years of just nonstop?
Of bashing
Yes.
Trump. Yes.
Yes,
I didn't bash
everybody's
him.
tired. And Trump was he inflamed people, man, and he said some horrendous shit. And if you don't agree with that, that's fine. Maybe you're not paying attention, but come on. I had
So-
somebody threaten to
He was
kill me
insightful.
because I said Trump had a vagina on his neck. Because he totally does.
Well, that's
Totally does. You always see little neck
Someone threatened to kill you?
threatened to kill me.
Did you call the police?
No, I said he needed to go fuck Trump's neck vagina.
Baby,
Hey, Michael.
baby,
Speaking of,
hey, Michael. We're
Speaking
talking
of-
about vaginas.
I love it when Michael pops in because it's always like the worst possible time
Yeah.
when Michael pops in.
No,
he always looks like he's about to go. "And
Candy, I've
another
done the
thing."
same thing, Candy. I've done the same thing before. I've just like dropped like napalm of F-bombs and Michael's
No,
like,
no,
"Hey,
Mike.
Yep.
I like to think Michael pops in like the Great Gazoo on the Flintstones.
That's 2 Flintstones references this episode.
No, he just calls us dum-dums.
Hello, dum-dums.
Hello, dum-dum.
So, and to this credit, we are a representative at least of a small portion of society that, again, like I said, sits and doesn't fucking lose. I mean, we've gotten a little loud, but nobody's like losing our shit.
No, I like.
I mean, after the insurrection, man, I was just like, ugh.
After the what?
You know what I mean? And I will say I tend to vote Democrat. I like I like the dogma to a certain degree, but I'm quite frankly at times quite ashamed. And when Trump won the election and they went and started busting up Starbucks, what the fuck did Starbucks do? They serve coffee. There's people in there working for fucking $9 an hour. It was idiotic. Both sides have idiots. This one's just kind of more like a nuclear bomb of idiocy. You know what I mean? Like, this is going to go down in history as a 9/11 type event for a lot of people. Do I think they're at all the same? No. But for some people, this is going to be like an attack on democracy, blah, blah, blah. I think it was just a bunch of idiots with some big moron with a magnifying glass just burning at them with like they were ants. I'm not even talking. I'm not necessarily about Trump. I'm talking about like the zeitgeist. Like, this was bound to happen.
What do you think they were trying to do? Do you think they were trying to overthrow?
No, I do not think they were trying. I never.
What do you
said
think
that.
they were trying to do? No, I'm asking you. What do you think?
I think people got heated and shit got crazy. I really just think that people got heated and shit got crazy, because if they were trying to take over the government, there'd have been guns.
No, they were protesting. Tom.
There'd have been guns, plain and simple.
And things got crazy.
It was not an insurrection.
I never liked that word for it. This was
It wasn't
a riot. It was just a riot.
If it was an insurrection, it was the worst insurrection.
It was a really dumb insurrection.
It sucked.
I do not believe that this was an insurrection. I do not believe that everybody there was an asshole. I know one asshole that was there.
There was one. Well, the thing is, everyone said there was one asshole there, but I never saw him. So I don't know.
I don't think it's an insurrection. I think that it was that 80% of mouth breathers in the middle, that their keywords got hit. Could Trump have worded things better? I personally think that I would have foreseen ugliness and not use words like fight. And I know you guys are going to say he didn't incite.
Be strong.
He could have used more passive words. I agree with fighting for liberty and all that, but you do far more by appealing to both sides than just one. Does that make sense?
Let me tell you, And let me tell you what I think, because I don't want people to get the wrong idea when they see this picture.
You got horns behind your head.
Not support what happened on.
Take me seriously.
So I think
I support people's right to protest.
Let Tom speak.
Yeah.
Just for the record, I'm completely against what they did. It was the stupidest thing, and it's going to hurt that whole conservative side of the political spectrum for many years to come. Mm-hmm. So it was very stupid, and the people that went inside or did any damage, they should be arrested. They should do whatever their sentence says. But I don't think it was an insurrection.
Yeah.
I think they were there to protest the vote. I don't think they didn't think that it was a fair vote for whatever, whether right or wrong.
Yeah,
they didn't think
their beliefs brought them there.
So they just showed up and they wanted to kind of, and then for some reason they just got carried away. They should not have crossed the threshold into.
That's really when the problem started. As soon as they walked through that door, charged through that door, whatever you want to call it, that's when.
And I don't know what was going through their minds. I don't think they went in with the intent to kill anybody, or I think they did want to disrupt the proceedings.
There are probably a couple there that were
to stop the vote, sort of.
But there were probably a couple there that were trying to cause.
They didn't want to overthrow the government. It was not an insurrection.
I think there were people there that wanted to start some crap, because I just don't see people dressed like that, like the people that I saw that were. I mean, when I saw them, I was like,
those people. My theory is that they showed up to handle the counter protest, because usually whenever Trump supporters in mass, Antifa will show up to throw rocks at them or whatever.
Here's just some more context. So I was down there in November. I can't remember. It was after the election, and I was down there as well. There's like another protest thing, and this was the one that when it started to break up and the sun was going down, and people were getting like attacked by people on the way back to their cars and stuff from Antifa types and all that. So when I was walking during that, there were, Antifa type folks. I wouldn't really. There were people there with like BLM paraphernalia, but they weren't behaving like violently or anything. They were just, representing. But there were definitely some like Antifa looking folks that were catcalling.
Antifa
And,
person
This was
look
the
like?
convention.
That's what
right?
they were like trying to start shit and stuff like that. And then that night, there were people going back to their car that were getting attacked and like having their hats stolen and burned and beat up and all this stuff. I mean, that again, in context, those stories were well out there and on video. You can look them up on, hopefully if they're still on YouTube, who knows?
Yeah.
But I mean, that actually happened. So maybe there were some people there on the 6th that were like, you know what, that's not going to happen again. I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't like it when people obscure their face and all that. I don't.
Yeah, that frightens
There's
me.
no reason for the violence. I think there's a lot of people that went in that were just like, we're going in the Capitol, whatever. I mean, look at the videos and stuff like that. I mean, you can see them on the videos. But then there was people that were like, if you're breaking a window and you're like shoving a cop to the ground, that's not that's
where that's
a
gone
whole
too
different thing, man. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah, but it happened. It happened all year.
And
Yeah,
it happened all year,
and
it didn't get called that. And that's what I'm saying. If we had a media, and when people feel that they're being treated differently, this stuff's going to happen, man. And we have a media that doesn't operate in good faith, and we have a lot of politicians that don't operate in good faith.
I miss the times of Frost Nixon, where you got called to the freaking canvas. That's the times we need to have with our news again, where somebody has integrity and they go at it. Just go at it and let us judge that.
Well,
we had the
also,
third.
What about journalism? Like fucking Watergate. I mean,
What's journalism?
Well, no. Nowadays, journalism in journalism schools, they're preaching. What do they call it? They call it I can't remember the term, but it's basically, if you're a journalist, you're supposed to be an activist. This is what they're teaching in journalism schools these days, right? The whole idea of presenting both sides or all sides, that's old thinking. No, you need to be an advocate,
or
which is
vetting
exactly what journalism isn't. I mean, it's part of the issue. You can be an opinion person, right? I mean, say what you want about Tucker Carlson. He doesn't call himself a journalist. Chris Cuomo calls himself a journalist. Don Lemon calls himself a journalist. Does anyone believe that they're a journalist?
No, they're figureheads.
So it is important. Words matter. Things matter. So if you're an opinion person, you can dislike an opinion person. That's fantastic. But he's not trying to be objective. He's not saying that he's being objective. He's arguing a point from a side. And that is, those people have been around forever. And then you have journalists that are like, I'm getting 3 sources. Here's the how, the why, the where, all that stuff, so that people can make their own decisions. We're not allowing people now to make their own decisions. They're being told what to think. And if they think wrong, they're getting shut down.
And
that's where we're at.
Words are under attack. Insurrection. I said words are under attack. You don't even insurrection. We don't know what to call that, because goddamn, we might incite somebody by calling it the wrong thing. And constantly, I'm noticing this just in regular daily, conversations. You're hearing people say a word, and you're like, I don't think you know what that means. I mean, going back to Princess Bride. It's like with the conversation we had a couple back where I felt that the word potential was being used as though it was ability, which are two different things. A child has more potential than Elon Musk. Elon Musk has more ability than a child.
Right.
In fact, one might say that he's used up his potential. But people use that word all the time as though it's ability. And that's not the same, just plain and simple. But I constantly lately have been finding that words are like I said, they're like under attack, like definitions are changing, and that frightens me.
You can't keep up with it.
It sounds silly, but I find that terrifying, because
here's one. And this was in the little bit of the hearing that I saw today, and my jaw hit the floor. So one of the police officers.
That's physically impossible, Michael.
I know. Well, unless I'm on the floor. But one of the officers had said that someone in the Capitol or in the crowd, one of the protesters or insurrectionists or whatever, had called him a stormtrooper. And the people like in the hearing, oh my God, that's so. And hello, Pelosi and Jim Clyburn twice called federal troops in Portland stormtroopers last year. Now, is that inciting? Is that dangerous speech? I think calling federal troops stormtroopers who are trying to protect a federal courthouse, who are legally allowed to do that and actually, charged with doing that by the third most powerful person in the country, and yet not a whisper. That was allowed, no issue. That's not inciting
a common
anything.
slur on the police is to call them.
Yeah, I'm a little fed up with that too.
Well, wait a minute, Mike. Pelosi and her compatriots also questioned an election for like
Absolutely. Yeah.
4 years.
All these people that are like, oh, it's the big lie, is so rich. When I sat for 3.5 years and heard nothing but how Trump was an agent of Putin and Russian collusion and the election was stolen. I mean, they talked about, the Washington Post posted a thing on Twitter about impeaching him 19 minutes after he was sworn in.
That is a little ridiculous.
So we got to hear about that for 3.5 years, and we got to hear Adam Schiff say he has seen evidence of Russian collusion. Never materialized. Eric Swalwell, I've seen evidence that never materialized.
19 minutes after
there was
they
no
had
evidence.
prepared for that. They had to be preparing for that well before.
But this was a directed,
The escalation.
manufactured issue in order to take him down a peg, right, and hurt him. And it was done not just by the Democrat Party, but by the press. They're the same thing in actuality.
I think we're just coming back to what we constantly have been saying on this show, that the media sucks.
Sorry.
Media
No, but
suck.
It's not just suck. No, it's the lesson to
it's
learn
sinister.
is you have to protect your brain and your ears, right? Don't be a passive listener. Like, question everything.
Yeah,
That's all.
Look.
You don't think there was any proof that Russia
What is it?
helped Trump at all?
There were 53 senators and representatives that, when put under oath in the basement when Schiff was doing his basement thing, about
Right.
whether they had seen evidence, and they all under oath said no. But to the press, they all said yes. So
Mueller.
I'd like to see it. I mean, I was supposed to twist myself into a pretzel to say that there was something in the Mueller report, even though when I read it, there was nothing that was.
Well, because most of it was redacted.
Most of it was not redacted.
No.
I mean, some of it was at one point. But
From what I understand, a lot
where's the evidence? And also, why?
All right. The only evidence that I would see is that
I mean, 3.5 years.
What about the steel
did
dot?
Wait, we're gonna make news.
appease-
Andy has evidence of it now.
No, I don't have evidence. I'm saying that he did tend to appease.
He didn't appease Putin. How did he appease Putin? He wanted to arm Ukraine. He was putting sanctions on Russia.
Here's the thing with the Putin thing. I'm not sure I get on board with it either, because quite frankly, with every conspiracy, man, you 3 people can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead. There's no way that there wouldn't be completely inarguable, in your face, cannot help but see it, proof that he did that Putin was behind it. And besides, why are we saying Putin? It's not like he was sitting at a fucking computer doing it. Even if he did.
Yeah.
Now, so let's be realistic. Maybe there was some stuff, but collusion,
There was not. He was not colluding with Russia. There's no evidence of it.
Okay, maybe not collusion. Maybe he wasn't aware, but they
maybe he
certainly
pandered
wanted
to.
him.
Maybe he kissed his ass. That's fine.
No, he didn't. There's no evidence of it. We've been through it. You can't just keep saying, well, maybe there's not.
My mom just jumped in and said that Trump was impeached twice, but my point was Clinton. Wait, hold on. Clinton, I knew you were going to do this. Clinton, whom I did like,
Who are you
was
talking
impeached as
to?
well.
talking
My
to?
mom said Trump was impeached twice. Yeah, Clinton was impeached as well, and everybody
But
liked
he was
him.
cleared twice.
Who? Yeah, but my point is, impeachment means shit. It means somebody liked you, hated you enough
Now it does
that they wanted
because it
to.
was used
Yeah.
as a
Right.
political
Yeah,
thing.
that's
Now
all
it
it
does.
He
It
stayed.
was-
It's always been political.
just like Clinton did.
It's always political.
Yeah, Clinton
It's
was
just,
political as
it's
well.
just a discredit. It doesn't mean you lose your job.
If the
It's
Senate
like getting a
convicts you,
written
it does.
warning at work.
Yeah, they never convict though, so
The only
It'll
and,
never
and
happen.
even Nixon, he was impeached, but he did not. They did not remove him. He resigned.
He
Impeachment
resigned.
just means what?
He resigned.
Right. So my point, and actually that's kind of honorable. I would actually, and wasn't there another one like Taft or someone way back that
Way
also?
back.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nice,
He
Mike.
was colluding with the Romanovs.
No, there was somebody. Well done. What?
Bizarre.
One last thing, and then I won't say anymore. This last election, the Democrats didn't really want Biden either. I think he's turned out to be a peaceful person, which is a relief. But I hope the next election we have a hero, and I don't have to hold my nose.
That's kind of where I'm at. I mean, I actually agree with
It was
that. I
one or the
really
other,
just
and
want not an
everybody
asshole.
voted- Everybody voted for the one that they didn't hate. I hope I have a hero this time.
Yeah.
I want a hero again, because we have had him in my lifetime.
Okay.
All right.
And that's it. Bye.
I can get with
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah, I want someone to
But
win,
nobody's been a hero. I
not
mean,
because they're the least worse. That would be good.
Yeah, it's been the lesser of two evils.
yeah,
Like,
that's
these past
we really
two.
need to have like another. Okay, so we may not like Obama, but he did for a large portion of the United States.
Uh-oh.
No,
Very
hold
good.
on, just let me finish. He did
Hannah's
enough.
finished.
A lot of people voted for him, way more.
And it's amazing that such a racist, white supremacist country would vote for Obama as
Exactly.
president.
That's a good
twice.
argument too. And Kamala
Okay.
Harris is yeah. So I never
got-
bought into
you
where
got
racist.
Kamala.
That's nonsense.
Dude, Kamala's campaigning right now by doing and saying absolutely nothing.
It's brilliant. That's the
Yeah.
best way to get your second term is shut your fucking mouth.
It
Yep.
is.
I mean, honestly,
Well, that's what they had to do the first time.
you got to actually give some credit to old George W. He was a loudmouth and said a lot of stuff. In retrospect, maybe he wasn't so bad. I don't like the Patriot Act, but that didn't go. They knew that. They knew it was going to get slipped under. They knew the Democrats weren't going to fight too hard because they were going to be able to use it. Raise a little
They all-
noise.
I mean, he's
all
a good
held
example of what
Mhm.
Mike was talking about before. So every time that George W. misspoke, did you not hear a joke like every single night
How
on the
stupid
late
he
night
was.
shows? or
Oh,
on the
Dana
news?
Carvey made his career off of it.
Right, but
No,
when
that was
Biden misspeaks, you don't hear that.
You don't hear about it.
I agree.
See,
I'm-
once
I'm-
again, I think that boils down to the exhaustion aspect. I think
No.
everybody's tired.
No, Trump was in there and Alec Baldwin was burying him with some of the funniest stuff I've ever seen. Remember when Alec Baldwin
Yeah.
was doing his
I
Trump
don't
thing?
believe that, Candy, because if Trump had got reelected, are you saying that everything would have stopped because people were
God, I
tired?
hope so. I hope so.
I think it would have continued for 4 more
Candy, I
years.
th-
Well, yeah,
think-
because he's easy. He's an easy mark because he's dumb, man.
Yeah,
he
but-
just asked
But
for
look
it
at
every
Joe
step of the
Biden.
way.
Biden said that he liked the little African kids touching the hair on his legs or something really weird. He did some pretty weird stuff too.
Listen, I was hoping
I
Bernie
find,
went
wait,
this
hold
way
on, hold
again.
on. Let me say this. I
Larry
find it
David on
suspect that
SNL.
nobody is picking on him. I really do find it suspect that nobody's. You said
No, what's mom say? I want to hear it. What's
no.
what's
She.
your take?
I'm
Give her a
trying to
mic.
get a thought across, and everybody's interrupting. I find it suspect that nobody's making fun of him.
It's not
Reagan was
suspect. It's
well-loved.
predictable.
Exactly. It's
It's
suspect.
100% predictable. Are you kidding me? Look,
No,
listen.
but did you see any Saturday night? Like every president, let me finish.
You okay?
Every president for like the last 30 years has had an SNL guy that did them.
Wait, isn't it Jim Carrey for him?
No, nobody's doing a Biden.
Well, SNL's been on
Why
break
Jim
since
Carrey
May.
did,
When?
right?
No.
SNL's been off since May.
But my
Yeah, but Jim Carrey did a Biden.
I
No,
don't recall.
no.
He did. He did.
No,
did.
but, I thought it was Woody Harrelson.
Either
No, it was Jim
way,
Carrey.
Carrie did it.
either way, they're getting buried. It was like every week you see it. I find it suspect that he's not lampooned constantly, whether he's good or bad.
Look.
Obama was lampooned constantly.
You cannot fit a piece of paper between
I
the
don't know about
Democrat Party platform and network news and late night comedy hosts, quote unquote comedy. It is all the same. It's all the same message, all the same messaging. They even use the same words.
My point being is I feel like there's a sense of suppression all across the board. That's why I'm saying
They're not going to go after him.
I find it suspect that he's not lampooned constantly. People loved Obama, but he got messed with. People loved Clinton.
Not
Oh my
really.
God, he got messed
Not-
with.
Obama?
Yeah.
It was all to make him look good. It was nothing critical. There was no critical. Are you kidding me? Can you find something on SNL that was critical of Obama?
Lampoon doesn't, I didn't say critical, I said lampoon, made fun of, for one reason or another. It doesn't have
I don't even recall any.
It doesn't have to be positive, it just has to be making fun. You know what I mean?
I don't. He made him out to, he was cool. He was, always having like, Dr. Dre to the White House or something, playing basketball. He was having beers. No, Obama was never portrayed as an oaf.
Okay,
or-
I think we're getting away from the.
I'm just saying it's one way. I'm just saying it's one way.
Is that
It's like
nobody's
the-
doing it to Biden at all.
Don't say anything.
Oh,
God.
I want to hear Zeus's.
Oh,
You keep saying lampoon, but I don't think you know what that word means.
oh,
I do know what it means. It means being made fun of. It doesn't mean negative or positive. It just
Obama
means
was not lampooned.
bullshit. Keenan Peele. I don't remember which one he was. The bald guy from Keenan Peele.
That's
The
racist.
speeches with where Obama was doing the speeches and he was doing like the urban translation. I'm not saying.
That's
I'm not
yeah, but that's not
criticizing. You're mixing
lampooning.
lampooning with criticizing, and
They weren't.
that's not the case. Lampooning is
Yes.
having fun at their
Yeah.
expense.
criticizing, I guess, is what.
I don't think we can look up the definition. I'm pretty sure lampooning just means having fun at their expense, making light of, but not. It doesn't
Not
have to be.
criticizing.
He's an idiot. Yeah,
No,
right?
not criticizing. That's the
Right.
whole point. That's the
I-
point Mike's making. They didn't criticize him. And
Right. Lampoon
But I'm
is
saying
like
lampoon.
when
You guys lampooning.
really
That's what I'm
tear 'em
saying.
up.
Lampooning doesn't mean criticizing.
No, I got that.
So I'm saying they did lampoon him. They did.
We'll look
Pull up the
some
Keenan
videos afterwards.
Peele Obama speech. They did it all the time. There was a lot of times where, again, had fun at his expense, not critical, not supportive. You pull up the Keenan Peele thing. You'll see. But my point is I haven't seen anything on Biden.
So
Which, again,
so
leads me to that
Key
impression.
Peele did one.
Jim Carrey did it.
And Carrie.
I
He
get
did.
it. That's
He did a good
one.
job.
Did one.
With one.
And Saturday Night Live had a cold open that was eviscerating Trump every single Saturday for 3 years.
How did we get to this?
Yeah, but it was
I'm saying that
funny.
Right now, there's a suppression. I'm saying Biden's campaign.
Yeah,
There's something
was-
wrong now with him not being lampooned. And if you see Jim Carrey again, I swear to God, I'm going to walk in the room and choke you. Okay, I get it. One person did it. Okay,
You
my
guys-
point is that now
Are
they're
you guys in the same house?
No, I'm going to drive to Florida, Jack. Yes, she's in the other room. She's using my iPad.
Okay.
No, I get it. That one person did Trump. I'm actually on the side of like Mike and Jack on this. I feel like shouldn't they be making, and no jokes about Kamala, they don't even joke about Pelosi anymore or anybody. It's like they're leaving it all off the, you don't see it. We're being suppressed from any of that stuff. Because you know what? When you see that stuff and you laugh at it, you also think about it, and some people, it inspires thought. We're not even doing that. I don't like how the press and words, like how we're just not in control of our language anymore on any
It's
level.
everything, man. You control the language, you control the narrative, you control people. And we've got very small number of people who are controlling that. And that's a cause of concern for anyone.
I agree.
Should be for everyone.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry if I got a little heated there, but I'm
All right.
the
No,
point, like,
no,
but it was
it's
that, but that
fine.
was like an example of it. Lampoon. Tom's over here saying that it's like he thinks it's. I'm not busting your chops, Tom, but you're saying it's criticizing, and I'm pretty confident, without pulling up the definition, that it's not so much that. I mean, that's important though. Is that we got different definitions for the same
They
word.
never made him look bad. That's the difference. You can have something that's
But why?
comedic.
I'm not talking about whether this was never about whether Obama was good or bad. This is about
I'm just
they're
saying that
not.
the
What I'm
treatment
talking
he
about is
gets.
they're no. What I was talking about is that you're not hearing this shit, except for Jim Carrey with
Yeah, look,
Biden.
sure.
Zeus, all those Chuck Norris jokes about how bad he is. Though, would you say that that's lampooning Chuck
I
Norris?
have no idea what you're talking about.
Chuck Norris.
Chuck
I know who
Norris.
Chuck Norris is, but I
You
don't.
you're not familiar with all these jokes about how Chuck Norris could, beat up
Like-
a herd of elephants
No,
or
it's
whatever.
called-
Or he has a fist under his beard.
No,
But
I guess
Okay.
I'm not up
I
on
guess you've been
Chuck
asleep
Norris
for like
knowledge.
the last 10 years, but
It's
Yeah, no,
called,
I'm-
it's called What Would Chuck Norris Do? That's what he's talking about.
Hmm.
But that's lampooning.
you've never seen all these memes about Chuck Norris.
No, no.
Oh my God. Okay.
I'm,
Bad
I'm,
example.
I'm not
Never
up on my
mind.
Chuck Norris knowledge. I
Never
do
mind.
know that he's looking really old, and
But the
he
point
does infomercials with Christy Brinkley. That's about
But
the
those are like a series of jokes, but they're not making fun of Chuck Norris.
You know, we can, Mom, we can hear you.
Come on the screen. Oh,
Okay.
All right.
tell us a funny story about Zeus.
I will.
A million of them.
he
Jack,
used
this
to
is
call
all
us
your,
farts
your
body
editing.
burps. Yeah.
I'm getting like an aneurysm now.
Well, I'm telling
Grinding
you,
gears.
I just think it's sad that we're gonna have this. Just bringing it back to the beginning, since I know we're probably gonna be going soon. But I think it's sad that we have this hearing and we have all this stuff, and we're not gonna learn anything that we
I'm
didn't
not
already
even-
know.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch any of it.
I'm just glad that we got rid of the name Redskins.
How about the
Me too.
How about the Indians? What's up? I don't even get that. Like,
Have
is
you
it-
seen the
is that
what
a
is his name?
pejorative?
Injun Joe? That's
There
not
we go.
Is the
offensive.
word Indian a pejorative now? I mean, seriously.
No, well, timeout, Zeus. They already got rid
Yeah.
of. They already got rid of the mascot logo like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but ours was like this noble chief on the side of the helmet.
Yeah,
and
but
his
they
was
got
like
rid-
nope.
No, they got rid of it. They got rid of it a long time ago.
Yeah, but I mean, but I'm still saying like they made ours out to be this like, and I get the name. The
Right.
name is
No,
the
you're
name
right.
is,
Zeus.
but that was far more. Nobody said, oh, let's name them after someone we hate. No, they were looking for nobility and
Right.
Anyway, I'm not getting into the Redskins. I was just kind
Well,
of
they
making a
changed
last minute
the,
joke.
they changed the Redskins name too. Last time I checked.
Yeah, I know that's what I was saying. I said I'm so glad we got rid of that Redskins.
I mean, you still have Vikings and Celtics, Fighting Irish.
Boilermakers.
Yeah, but I think, I mean,
Yeah, there's no
Indian.
Vikings left, so fuck them.
I don't think they're not making fun of those people, are they?
No.
No, but I'm not sure I know what your point is.
Or were they
Okay.
making fun of?
But there's also
Redskins
Chiefs,
and-
Blackhawks. Why was it? Everything.
because the only reason they call them Indians is because they thought, what was it? Which was it? Columbus, who thought he was in India. Because
no,
of
no,
the
no, no.
North-
He thought they were from the West Indies. I thought. Isn't that
No,
what?
India.
No, West Indies.
I
West
think
Indies.
it was the West Indies.
The West Indies.
Really?
He went through. Yeah, he went through the Caribbean. That's the West Indies, right, Mike? Is that correct?
I believe so.
Yeah. So
I'm not sure though. I didn't research that this week. I'm
They
sorry.
were what they
No,
called
me either.
Indians.
Thank you, Mike.
But
I
that's
mean,
what
it
he
goes
thought they
by
were.
any other name.
But no, we could have a whole lot of talk about the attack on language because I don't think it's getting better.
It's everything.
I'm waiting to see some book burnings. I swear to God.
It's already
There
happened.
have been book burnings
That's
already
in
happened.
2020. Did you not see that?
yeah, no, it doesn't shock me. I mean, the parallels between what's going on right now in like 1939 Germany is frightening. There was this huge, people don't know this, but there's like a huge true crime Like everybody was into true crime at the time in Germany, right before everything went to hell. And then book burnings, language,
Well, they
rallies.
call it today. They call it the decolonization of your bookshelf.
Oh, that's great. Decolonization.
That's what they call it. It's true.
Is
Pretty
that
sweet.
That's
true?
what they call it. That's true.
I haven't heard that.
I like that. Yeah, it kind of covers it.
Yeah.
I think.
All right,
Is that a
boys.
wrap?
Yeah, I think we've been on for a long time. I think it's
This was a
time.
good one.
So next week we're doing My Little Pony. Is that the subject next week?
I was going
Yes.
to do it on different kinds of farts, the sounds, and smells,
Oh,
what causes them,
all right.
and
Potty burps.
how funny they are. Potty burps, sometimes they're called.
Beer cough. No, trouser coughs.
What?
That's all
Hey,
they
did
are.
somebody step on a frog?
Yeah.
Barking spiders.
Barking
So,
spiders.
Yeah, so it's going to be the fart episode, I'm thinking. I mean,
All right.
I don't have to do it. If one of you guys feels like you're not
Oh,
farts,
everybody-
everybody mine.
No, everybody eats some beans, some sauce.
I mean, if you want to get famous, that's what you do. Just
Yes.
saying.
Wouldn't it be funny
Yeah.
if that's the one that pulls us over?
It would be.
Well,
Oh.
have a good night, Zeus's mom.
Bye,
Bye.
Oh.
bye, Susan's mom. Bye, Candy.
apologize.
Bye, Candy.
No, we love you.
But at least
We
I was
lo-
listening.
Come
No,
on,
we
Mom.
love
Come
you.
on, camera, so everybody can say hi.
Come say hi, Mom.
Hi,
You gotta wave.
old lady, old person.
No, you have to come closer. You're just waving at the screen.
Hi.
Hello.
I go.
I would
Get
never
off
get
my lawn.
to your podcast.
Hey, Susan's mom.
I was listening to your podcast anyway.
Oh, that's one. That's one person.
We've got a subscriber. Yay.
I hope that
He
goes
hates
to
it.
my comments.
All right. Good night, boys. Good night,
Take care.
Candy.
All right, I'll
Have a
send
good
it
night.
tomorrow.
Susan's mom.
All right, good one, Mike. Very good. Very cool. All right, see you guys.
Take care.